Hello, this is a shadow reading for you. We're looking at any energies that you need to process, any toxic things or people that are in your life, and how to process them. What's the best way forward for you at the moment? I got 3 cards already on the table because I started the reading yesterday and about a million things got in the way, but the cards felt really powerful, so I kept them. This is for you, any situation, see how it applies to you, okay? It's either going to really hit the nail on the head for you or it's really going to miss it. So you need to decide that. We've got the 6 of Pentacles as the first overall energy card. So 6 of Pentacles is a card about receiving. It's also, in my experience as a tarot reader, a card about being able to receive, around your energy about receiving. So sometimes this card will come up if in your external world you're working in a job that is clearly paying you less than you're worth, or even a job that doesn't use any part of your skill set or imagination, but you've just kind of found a groove and stuck to it. It can be if you're having relationships and you're looking at a pattern in your relationships with friends, family, romantic relationships, and finding that you are on the begging end, or that you're just not feeling the kind of bliss you feel when there is giving and receiving in kind of equal measure. Now, scales, as you'll know, are very rarely actually equal. It's not about being 50-50 with somebody, but it is about feeling like there's to and fro, like there's reciprocity. So this is telling me that we are looking at incidences in our life, in whatever area, where we're selling ourselves short. This can usually, and I feel like it is in this case, be linked to being an empath. Now that doesn't mean all empaths naturally sell themselves short, but a lot of us do, okay? Leave me a comment on that. 7 of Cups in the middle. Now, the 7 of Cups is a really interesting card and as a shadow card, because are you seeing this or are you creating it? It's a card of like visual chaos. So you're seeing all these things in the cups, and it's called the Tentacles of Illusion in this, the El Goliath deck. Tentacles of Illusion, because, I mean, there's always some weird stuff in the 7 of Cups anyway. But apart from that, you don't even know if it's really there. So I feel like for some of you, there may be a history of gaslighting. And I don't necessarily mean traditional gaslighting. You know, when we think gaslighting, we naturally think narcissist. And yeah, of course, there's a big thing there. And possibly you have been involved in a narcissistic relationship, maybe in the last year or 2. Sorry, this is making my nose go mad. But this is also earlier than that. This is about magical thinking and being stuck. So for some of us, when we're powerless, and this can very often be either because we're a child, we're younger, or we are in a position where this person has power or authority over us, like a teacher, an employer, a parent, or even a friend. You know, like at school, if you're friends with somebody who is far more extrovert than you are, and you get pulled into something. This is about boundaries and finding your own boundaries, and the universe wanting to flag up to you that there's something in your life where your boundaries and your ability to make them is being tested. And then here, this gorgeous, gorgeous card, this is the 6 of Wands. So, the El Goliath Hive. 6 of Wands, winner, winner, chicken dinner, or vegan alternative. When it comes up as a shadow card, it's often because you're not seeing yourself as a true contender. Now, what I mean by that is you sort of might know that you deserve something, like the job, like the relationship, like whatever it is, the money, whatever, the peace, but you don't actually believe it. There's a big difference. When you don't believe it, sometimes when you receive it, it doesn't last. It doesn't fit properly. It's almost like you don't have the kind of muscle memory to keep it. All three of these cards for me are adding up to illusions about our own self-image and self-worth, and probably self-love. Ugh, self-love. Okay, I want a shadow deck. Right, we're going to use these. Shadow Fates Tarot. I'm going to take 3 cards for these that are going to give us a bit more clarity. Let's just go backwards a bit. Put these at the top. Okay. Shadow Fates Tarot. What do we need to know, please, about situations where things seem to... Oh, hello. Yep. Got 2 of Wands. Ooh, that's big. Judgment. And the Sun. Wow, okay. I will be doing an extended love reading for this, so if this really resonates with you, we are going to do some love strands in here as well. If this resonates with you, it will be the first link in the description box. Let's go down and focus. Look at that. I really like the fact that we've kind of got the moon here, we've got the sun here. This for me is speaking about eclipses. Now, eclipses are kind of psychological pain points, especially when they're full moon eclipses, which the next one is. So the next eclipse is in Libra on the 25th of March, and it's come up in readings time and time and time and time again. Now, we will then be in Aries season, which is quite a blessing actually, because it gives us fire in our belly for processing. So mark in your diaries, 25th of March, okay? Full moon, you can see it there in my moon diary. Penumbral lunar eclipse in Libra. Of course, Libra is the sign of harmony. It's ruled by Venus. It is represented here by the scales, okay? There's something here about the way things come into your life. And I feel like for some of you, and this won't be all of you, one of these scales is very heavily weighed down by somebody else's energy. And it's kind of robbing you the ability of being able to access your own. This could have come from a really long time ago, or it could just be, you know, like when you, and maybe this is just me and Homer Simpson, when you sit on the sofa for too long watching Netflix and you make like a butt groove in the sofa, I feel like too much time or energy at a vulnerable time in your life can make a kind of groove in your psyche. And what this does is it's a perfect kind of receptacle for other people to drop a piece in and just go, wow, I can see that this person is receptive. I'm gonna leave my piece here. They'll look after it for me. They're not gonna charge me rent. Do you know what I mean? It's like I can just plug into their energy and they're either not gonna notice or they're not gonna say anything. This is how you end up with leaving a job because you have a sort of domineering boss or a nasty boss or someone who's just impossible. And then you go along to another job and it's a different person, but it's the same emotion coming out. So for this, we're getting the 2 of Wands, which I really like. 2 of Wands is a decision card and it's also a fire card. Fire signs traditionally don't get caught up in these kind of relationships, or if they do, they're usually quite proactive about dealing with them. And this is where we have a lot to learn from the fire in our own charts and from our fire sign friends, okay? Do leave a comment if you are a fire sign and let me know, because I think from my experience, I'm pretty bang on about that. There's a big difference between water sign people and fire sign people, for example, and earth sign people and air sign people. Water and earth signs, in my experience, find it more difficult to establish boundaries. Air sign and fire sign people still obviously have work to do, but I think it comes more naturally. That's a big debate, isn't it? Let me know in the comments. Okay, 2 of Wands. So you have, I'm not going to call it a crossroads, but you're definitely coming up here to some kind of decision. 2 of Wands is a decision card. You've always got somebody like this looking out onto a horizon thinking, where do I go next? Where do I go next with this relationship? Where do I go next in my career? What is holding me back in my life from leading the life that I really want to lead? From writing that book, from getting that real dream job, from moving to somewhere that I'm going to find peaceful, from being single to finding somebody to love, from being in a difficult relationship to finding out properly whether it's actually for you or whether it's not you, it's them actually. Okay? So we have a decision on our hands. I would say that I feel like it's being kicked off by the eclipse on the 25th, and then we have another eclipse on the 8th of April, which is a new moon eclipse. So this is where you're going to make some decisions. You're going to actually turn some corners and you're going to instigate something around this time. You can also, if you look here in my moon diary, it has new moon wishes around this time, because this is a time when you can put plans into action. You can put your wishes out to the universe. I feel like there's something you aggressively want, but maybe haven't voiced yet. Maybe not even to yourself. And I feel like what's keeping this desire suppressed, or the ability, or even the kind of road, the path to how to get to this, I feel like it's from an old story, that this is not for you, that those sorts of things are not for you, that this doesn't happen to our family. We're not the lucky ones. This can be drummed into you by very well-intentioned parents who don't want to see you disappointed. It's a huge emotion in parenting, especially if you have been disappointed as a parent when you were young, to want to warn your own children off things that might stretch them, things they might fail at, things that they might not, things where they might not get what they want. You want to protect them. But sometimes it doesn't protect. Sometimes it actually causes that kind of thing to come about. Now, 7 of Cups, we've got Judgment. Judgment is a past, present and future card. It's what I call my back to the future card. So Judgment is a time when you may have made a decision earlier on in your life, or even a couple of years ago, or even last year, or whenever it was. But all of this needs revisiting. And that's what Judgment does. It's a card of resurrection. But it's coming up here with the 7 of Cups. There is some recurring theme in your life that is coming up that you find it difficult to see the wood for the trees. And we are all like this. Because when it's your life, you can't see it. It's too close to you. It's a bit like, when you're zoning in and out on the camera on your phone. If it gets too close, it just gets fuzzy and you can't see it. So there are certain things at the moment about people, about your life, about your goals that are visible to lots of other people, but they're not really visible to you. And that isn't your fault. That's just being human. So Judgment says, particularly I think here around the time of the lunar eclipse on the 25th, it's a very good time for you to be looking at something different, to be broadening your horizons and to be asking yourself, 1, what holds you back from getting what you really want? 2, what do you really want? And this is not a question where you get a piece of paper and write down 3 things I really want, because if you could do that, you probably would have gone and got them. These are very deep-seated things that you want, that you deep-seatedly don't believe you deserve. So this is the kind of thing that it's better to find through some kind of meditation, through asking the question to the universe and then leaving it out there, but being very, very open and receptive to any signs you might receive, people who might come across your path, things you might see on the internet, stuff you might see while you're shopping, a song, a snippet, whatever it is. The universe sends you prompts. And it goes even further than that, because once you start acting on them, and we're talking about here around the time of April the 8th, April the 9th-ish, once you start acting on them, the universe is thrilled by this and throws you more. And it's almost like the path is just unrolling for you. The 6 of Wands, we get the Sun, and I feel like this is the solar eclipse. And the solar eclipse, new moon solar eclipse on the 8th of April, okay? And this is a success card. I believe you've got 2 roads going in different directions here. And whereas sometimes you get a crossroads and you get different goes at it, this, I think it's like the Chariot. It's one way or the other. And I think you can feel this. And 1 is the way of least resistance and involves you staying the same. And the other is the road of the unknown, which involves you having some fire in your belly, not knowing what's going to happen next, and accepting and thriving on the fact that there are no guarantees here. Okay, I am going to take an oracle card to go with this as well. Leave me a comment. Let me know if this is resonating, because I really feel can't speak today, but I felt this reading bubbling up. We get imagine, yes. We get by the book. And we get TikTok. Okay, yes. Imagine is a card where you're almost pulling the moon down on a stick. You are allowed to let your imagination grow wild. And each time you hear that voice in your head, which probably comes up in your own voice, that says to you, don't be so stupid, don't be so silly, people like us don't do things like that. You can't afford it, it can't be yours, other people do that, everybody else is at it, I can't do it. I can't see a way forward. You don't need to see a way forward. You just need to see the end, where you want to get to, okay? The Imagine card is telling you to put it all out to the universe, however ridiculous, however embarrassing, however silly it is, put it all out to the universe. If you want to, you can drop it in the comments. If it's private, it's private. But if you feel like you can share it, drop it in the comments. Where do you want to be? What do you want to do? What makes you really happy? Then we get by the book. And I feel like a lot of people, a lot of you listening to this reading are people who think that you need to work extra hard, maybe harder than everybody else to get there. And also, in your childhood, you may have been the one who did it right, who did the right thing, who was quiet when you were supposed to be quiet, who was, brush your hair when you're supposed to brush your hair, good when you're supposed to be good. By the book is helpful when it comes to discipline and when it comes to getting up in the morning and practicing skills, but sometimes you've got to tear up the rules, and I do feel that this is one of those times. TikTok is the human clock, or the clock on the wall. The clock that tells us, I'm too old to start this. I am not old enough to start this. I haven't got the time for this. Or I'll never do it in time. I've wasted so much of my time. time is extremely relative, and you've experienced that in your own life, where you're enjoying yourself, you know, you're on a fabulous date, or you're in a country you really love, or your friend, you're chatting, or you're on your lunch break at work and you hate your job. Time really, really, really flies. But in other places, in other times, it doesn't. It takes forever. If you're on detention, if you're in prison, if you've got some kind of, you're doing something, waiting for a train or something like that, you find that it seems to go very slowly. This is a prompt to tell you to ignore the milestones, the things that other people tell you, the thing that society tells you, the body clock, whatever it is, time is not a factor. And for a lot of you, I feel like you feel like you're late to the game. Doesn't matter. You know, it happens when it's supposed to happen. I'm going to take 3 more shadow cards for love and relationships as well. Wow. Wowzers. That's big. So's that. So I will be doing a deep dive into relationships because in the extended, because I've had many comments and emails actually about this. Okay. Now this can be about family, friends, exes, current people. Okay, very interesting. Start with the 8 of Cups. The bravest walk you ever have to make, which is the walk away from something or someone that you love. It's an 8. When you get the 8 of Cups, for me, there's not a lot of negotiating with it. It's one of the few tarot cards, you know, I think sometimes of tarot cards as like aubergine, where you can add flavour by different cards being in their vicinity. When you get the 8 of Cups, it's quite standalone. I always get the exit sign, like a neon exit sign. 8 of Cups is Saturn in Pisces. Pisces is this sign that can go on forever because it's the last sign of the zodiac. So there is a feeling that you can have no borders, no boundaries, you know, eternal love. And it is also the sign of the martyr. Now, I say this with love because I am a Pisces with Pisces rising. So, you know, that's just, there are merits and there are demerits to signs. Pisces is the sign of the martyr. Pisces can be very without borders, without boundaries. It's one of the things all Pisceans, maybe not late March ones, but all Pisceans and other water signs actually need to keep in check on themselves. So we've got the 8 of Cups and we got the 2 of Wands. There is a decision here, and it's not even like a decision where this will happen tomorrow or next week. It's something that's around you. So it may be that you made this decision about a relationship days ago, weeks ago, but all the same, there is something around you that needs... There's something about mending a broken heart here. And it's a fairly lonely business when you get the 8 of Cups. Next to it, we've got the High Priestess, which tells me again that I'm dealing here with a lot of empaths. I'm dealing here with a lot of people who understand unconditional love. Unconditional love is a part of what you're needing to process here. It feels like you can love limitlessly, which is a blessing and a curse, because you can love yourself limitlessly and you will definitely ascend, you know, you will rise with that, you will find blessings in that. but you can also love others limitlessly, which again can be amazing when it's children or pets. But when it comes to romantic relationships and maybe even friendships, family relationships sometimes, you can find that you are the human bridge. You know, you can work hard to keep things harmonious. You can be the glue that holds people together. And like I said, for your children, of course, it's amazing. You're the rock they can rely on. But sometimes in romantic relationships and in high energy friendships, this can cause you to become distorted or weary. And I feel like there's something here with that first card that we had up here. There's something here about balancing this out, about fencing certain parts of yourself off until somebody, and the image that I'm getting channeled is like a country club. You know how people need a recommendation, or there's like a VIP, a roped off area that's a VIP area. I feel like what's needed for you at the moment is that you consider close friendship or relationship with you only for people who qualify to be the VIP. Now, you can even do this like in a kind of meditation where you vet this person. You can, if you've got spirit guides, you can ask them to vet this person. But you can also, in a meditation, just set it up for yourself that this person approaches, you know, like when you have the red carpet. Maybe you're the star on the red carpet, we've got the rope. Can they come in? They've got to answer some questions on the board. You get your own clipboard. You could do that for real. Or you can have it in your imagination and meditate on this. You're asking them certain questions. And what you're going to find is that you won't be able to kid yourself in this 7 of Cups kind of a way. The High Priestess part of you, which is like the plumb line of all knowledge, will know if you're being taken for a ride. Now, I think what might have happened historically, or even in a situation that you're in at the moment, is that you haven't been able to even identify that this is happening. Sometimes, if there has been gaslighting in the family, it's how we're brought up, sometimes that means that you are, like I said, do you remember there was this piece missing? And it's like sort of the glass slipper almost. Other people come and put their piece in, like a jigsaw. And they leave you with their bad energy, especially if you are an empath. And this can definitely happen to you in early life. And it feels like that kind of application to join your club needs to be refused. So the other thing that you can do for this, and this works brilliantly well, is that you can choose your own security. Just imagine for yourself, and you don't even have to try hard for this. Just get it into your mind and imagine somebody who is your security. Okay, we've got this roped off area, we've got your security person there, and they literally put their hand up to the wrong things, to the wrong people, and they say to you, you don't need to see that, you don't need to know that, you don't need to think about that. And you put onto your security person the things that you normally soften with and let people get away with. You can also do this for intrusive thoughts. The why did I do that? Or even thinking back over times that make you feel sad, but actually aren't healthy times that make you feel sad. And I know this sounds weird, but obviously there are times in your life when difficult things happen, you feel sad. It's good to process them. But sometimes, particularly as an empath, you can get stuck. Certain thoughts become intrusive. Things like watching the news, things like what happened to friends, things like feeling sorry for people. You've got a very high capacity to feel sorry for people, which is amazing if you're working in a helping profession. Fantastic if you have a friend that needs to lean on you, but also sometimes it interferes with your gatekeeping abilities. So it's very, I use this a lot for myself. You just employ this one person and you really like this person and they do nothing but work for you. And you can actually kind of think of this person, you don't need to see that, you don't need to hear that, they don't get to meet you. I know that sounds absolutely bonkers, okay? I know that sounds bonkers, I get it, but it isn't. I can guarantee you it is not. It works brilliantly. I want you to leave me a comment if you already have somebody. I suppose it's like a spirit guide really. But you know, you can kind of have them look in a way that works for you. It doesn't have to be massively spiritual. They don't have to look like the Dalai Lama, you know, they can just look. It will come to you. Oof. Okay. Price of Love Oracle cards. Oh my God. In the extended reading, I'm going to do a really deep dive into love. Into love, relationships, exes, way forward. How do they feel and what's going on with you and with them and with it? Yes. Right. Okay. The F-bomb. Always funny for me that this is a hyacinth, because I don't know if you've ever had a hyacinth in the house, but I actually love hyacinths. But the smell really gets to me. It's really, really powerful, and I find that really kind of weird that the forgiveness card is a hyacinth. There's obviously, I think it's traditional that they are, but anyway, forgiveness. This is tricky for empaths. Empaths can feel everything, know everything, see everything, but that means when it comes to forgiveness, the channel message I'm getting for you is that you need to forgive everything, not just some of it. And that doesn't mean that you okay bad behaviour, or that you don't, you know, you don't have to paper over the cracks with it, forgive people that you can't stand. It's not about that. It's forgiving the whole situation. This is Ho'oponopono prayer material. So I'm always banging on about the Ho'oponopono prayer. You can find it on YouTube. Loads of people talk about it, say what it is. The Ho'oponopono prayer takes the entire situation and everyone involved, and I don't know, I don't know what it does, but it's very emotionally moving when you do it. And it makes you feel more robust. Then we have boundaries. Oh yes, we do. Of course we do. Boundaries are huge. So around the 25th of March, around the 8th of April, is when you build your fence. And like Robert Frost said, is it keeping someone in? Is it keeping someone out? It's probably going to be doing both. And then here we have redacted. Redacted is when someone has a document, or they give you a document, but some of it is missing. And it's usually the sensitive parts that are missing. Some of you want to work out a situation. It could be a situation from the past in your childhood. It could be a situation from a relationship. You want to be able to see every single thing about what happened, to almost be the detective and to go through the clues. You will never get every detail of what happened, and even if you did, it wouldn't prove it to you anyway. There will always be 100 more questions. If you can't forgive, and this is channeled as well, if you can't forgive in your body, and that's why the Ho'oponopono is so powerful, because it actually feels like it somatically works through your body, then you can't forgive in your soul. And you don't get to move on freely either. So this is very, very, very important. Okay, I'm going to get another oracle card. Won't be that one. And then I'm going to go and do the extended. Okay. This has been a very deep reading, hasn't it? I feel very positive about it though. I feel like there's a lot of energy shifted even by doing the reading actually. Woo! Those of you that watch the dailies will know how I feel about this. Totally get it. Okay. Not only do we drop the F-bomb, but we're going to drop the J-bomb now as well. We get the labyrinth or the journey. So journey, it feels like it is actually. Most things are. I don't know where we get this idea of like a linear straight line, you know. I think it's just wishful thinking as a human that things would be like the underground map in London, you know, where they're just kind of this many stops and then you'll get to your destination. No, there are plenty of blind alleys. It's often very circular. It can feel, and this does, like it's a spiral that's going up. And also in the labyrinth, there is always a time when you are confused, Seven of Cups, when you can't see your way clear, when you get lost, when you double guess yourself. In your situation, there's a lot of double guessing, getting lost, smoke screens, gaslighting, mist, all of these things. But so it's messy. Getting out of the labyrinth is messy. But I do believe, and I'm also getting into a whole thought here, you know, in many Greek myths where somebody, breadcrumbs, they leave you breadcrumbs to get out, or they leave you a trail of salt or some kind of thread so that you can find your way back out of the labyrinth. I'm going to look into that in the extended reading. Cripes! Okay, let me know how that resonated. Leave me a comment with it. Give me a thumbs up as well if it did resonate. And if it really resonated, I'll see you in the extended in a minute. I'm going to go there now. Namaste.